Good morning, everyone. Hi, hello. My name is EJ, and I am back again with another narrated art time lapse for us to take a look at and hopefully learn a thing or two from. So yeah, but before anything else, I would very much like to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone who is watching this video. I hope you guys are having a great time this season. So yeah, this is part of the reason why I wanted to do this narrated video, is because I basically just wanted to check in before the year is out and say, hey, I am here, still kicking it, still doing my artwork, and every now and then doing my narrated art time lapse to, kind of help people who's basically just interested in the process. Maybe they could learn a thing or two from my art process, my very unique art process. But yeah, anyways, today we're taking a look at a fan art I did. It's a Super Mario Brothers fan art. It is part of it is my submission for a challenge that I did last year. May of last year, I'm basically did this character design challenge for the character design challenge that happens every month. It's a really cool challenge. Every month they come up with a new prompt, and of course you're supposed to illustrate the prompt. And for May of last year, 2023, their prompt is basically to do fan art of the Mario Brothers, the video game. So yeah, I really had fun doing this particular illustration. It is one of my favorite ones that I've done so far for character design challenge. It's just really cool. I love the lighting on this. I thought how I pulled off the lighting on this is really awesome. But before I go over that, let's talk real quick about what has transpired in the past few minutes. Because of course I needed to talk about the art process, right? So the very first thing that we saw was me importing a 3D photo of a render that I did in Blender. And I do apologize that I did not get to attach the 3D part of my art process for this particular video. I'm not quite sure what happened to that particular video. Unfortunately, I just could not attach it to this particular edit. And so yeah, we're missing that part of the art process, which I'm really good at showing the 3D part of my illustrations. But yeah, for this particular one, we're gonna go ahead and just skip it and not include it for this particular video. But I can briefly talk about what happened in the 3D process. Basically, in the 3D process, I used Cascadeur, which is such an amazing program. If you guys get the chance to check it out, do check it out. I started working on Cascadeur. I was like one of the early adopters, so I have like a special license to use it, which is really cool. It's basically free for me, and it's about to expire, and I really am like on the fence about buying it. Like I really want to buy it, but I couldn't justify the cost of it, I couldn't justify the cost of it for my use case, because really what I used Cascadeur for that few moments that I had it, the only time I ever really use it was for illustrations. Now, Cascadeur, the program in itself, is designed for animators. It basically makes posing 3D characters super easy. Like, it's so unbelievably easy to pose 3D characters in that program. But yeah, it's mainly designed for animators, and I don't really animate. I use mannequins for my 3D renders, so I could have like a 3D reference for my illustrations basically, and that's what I mainly use Blender for, aside from my sculpting. I sculpt too in Blender. But yeah, I really like the Cascadeur program. I thought it's a very brilliant program. But yeah, I couldn't really buy it, especially for all I'm ever going to be using it for is just for illustrations. So yeah, I'm just going to let my free trial expire basically. But if you're an animator, do check it out. It's a really good program. So anyways, I basically took one of their models in Cascadeur. They have their own freely available models for people to use. I took one of their models, posted, imported it in Blender, and then set up my lighting scheme, right? And then basically did a 3D render. And as soon as I had that 3D render, I imported it into Krita. That's what we saw at the very beginning, was that 3D render. And then after that, I basically did a quick sketch on top of that, just to kind of delineate where I want everything to be, what the feel and look of the characters are. And then as soon as I had that, I did my clean line sketch, which I thought my clean line sketch for this particular illustration is really top notch. I thought I did a really good job with this sketch. And then of course, as soon as I'm done with that sketch, I laid down some basic colors using David Revoy's random mech brush. I really wanted to create like a bunch of noise basically with that brush. That's basically the whole point of that brush, is to just create a lot of noise. Then as soon as I have all the colors down, I went back with my multiply brush to kind of add some shadows in, add some more values. And then as soon as I have all that, I laid them all down to one layer, right? Merge them all in one layer. And then I started smudging, which is what we're taking a look at right now. I'm basically smudging everything that I've done so far, so I could have this nice little base for me to work on. This has been my process for quite some time now. I love this process. I think it works best for me. I wouldn't recommend it for most people just because it's a little bit chaotic. And so yeah, but if you think that this might help you, then hey, by all means pursue it. But yeah, this has been kind of the way I've been doing things in digital painting. So yeah, I basically just lay down the colors really quick, throw in like some really good values, smudge everything just so I could have this painterly look and feel to the painting. Everything's gonna look fuzzy, but that's basically what I do for the rest of my session, is just go back over all the fuzziness of the image and just kind of just start detailing things down, which is what we're gonna see in the next few minutes. So yeah, that's pretty much just my process. I'm gonna take a pause for now. We're gonna just watch the video and just watch what's going on. Later on in the video, I'm gonna come back and do my own little critique and whatnot, and talk about the amazing lighting on this piece, because the lighting on this piece was just top notch personally for me. So I really like it. But yeah, enjoy the show for now. So yeah, I'll come back in a little bit. Man, it is absolutely fun watching me detail this little illustration. Yeah, I've been watching me detail the plaid shirt, and yeah, that was really cool how I did that. Plaid for me is such a challenge. Actually, I take it back. Not only plaid is challenging, any type of article of clothing that has any sort of print on it, like a dress with floral prints, or any silk with a pattern on it, those are always difficult for me to detail, because the fabric in itself would have, especially if it's like a drawing, right? Like if it's a drawing of a flower or something, that flower is gonna have like its own set of values, right? And then for that flower to have its own set of values to be juxtaposed on a piece of shirt that will have its own set of values, it kind of confuses me sometimes. So like doing all the shadow areas in the plaid shirt, for example, it's always such a challenge for me, because part of me is going to be thinking like, hey, is that a shadow, or is that just the dark part of the plaid or something? So it's always kind of like in my head, like, how do I make fabrics with print realistic, with really good value range, simply because the print in itself will have its own value range. So anyways, I always find fabrics with any kind of prints or any kind of patterns just super complicated to draw / paint, just because of the whole patterns messing around with the values basically of the painting. So for this particular one, I think I pulled it off nicely. It's not the best, it's not the most realistic, I would have to say, but it does the job. It looks fairly good in terms of representing what it's supposed to represent. Like I can tell it's a plaid shirt, and I can tell that there's a value in the clothing. I could tell where the light is, and I could tell where the dark areas are. So yeah, I think overall I kind of did well. So anyways, let's talk real quick about the things that I absolutely love in this piece. I love the lighting. I think I mentioned that already. I thought the lighting is superb. Granted, I had my 3D render to help out a lot with that, and this is part of the reason why I like doing 3D renders. Not only will I get an anatomical reference for me to refer to, I also get lighting reference, which is awesome. It just makes things easy for me illustration wise. So yeah, I thought that the lighting that I had chosen when I was doing my 3D setup was really cool, and it shows through in the illustration. I thought this was really, really awesome. I always use a 3-point light technique, which is pretty standard in a lot of 3D renders, right? So yeah, I did something very similar for this particular piece. 2 rim lights, and then a little light that kind of just illuminates the brothers. Fairly simple in terms of setup, but what I really did differently was I used colored lights instead of just going with plain old bright white light. I obviously use colored light. On the right we get like this pinkish glow, and then on the left we get this light bluish glow. So yeah, having those two contrasts, right, the warm colors of the right, or the warm light of the right, and then the cool light of the left, it kind of just creates this really, really cool vibe. So yeah, as for the brothers itself, I thought the redesign was very cool. Not to toot my own horn or anything. Obviously I went fairly realistic. I didn't want to do something cartoony. I wanted to do a little bit more realistic of a character, and we could tell that these are good old plain Italian man. Good old fashioned Italian man, right? I changed up their hat. Obviously I changed up their shirts too, because their shirts are not plaid shirts. Obviously I gave them plaid shirts. I gave them good old fashioned jumper jeans, right? Like overalls. That was pretty standard. The boots is pretty unique too. I think that's kind of standard as well. Good old fashioned like plumber boots. The shirt's different, and then the hat is different. I thought giving them that ascot hat, I think that's what that type of hat is called. Let me double check. Yeah, an ascot cap. I thought giving them that was pretty cool instead of the good old baseball cap. So yeah, I thought that was really, really interesting. But yeah, the redesign of the Super Mario Brothers that I did, I thought it's pretty unique. It's pretty cool. But you know, like I said, it's the lighting that I absolutely love in this piece. I've done redesigns before, you know, and in all honesty, when it comes to the redesign, it's like pretty standard in my opinion. You know, not too overwhelmingly awesome or anything. It's just, yeah. But as for that lighting, man, I really dig that lighting. I really just absolutely love it. So yeah. But yeah, we are close to having this piece be done. So I hope you kind of enjoyed that show, and hopefully you learn a thing or two from it. And yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Merry Christmas once again. I will see you guys in the next video. Good night.